of questions. It's all about questions, isn't it? OET speaking is all about questions. Can I confirm your name? Is it okay if I call you this? I can see from your notes that this is the case. Is that correct? Okay, there's loads and loads of questions. So it's good to have a grasp of question grammar, and we've got some on the website. I'm not going to go into too much detail right now, but I'll ask a question for everyone in the class. What do closed questions always get answered with?
Yes or no.
Yes
Yeah.
or no. Usually short answer.
Okay, how about this question? The question that I just asked, was it an open question or a closed question?
Yeah, that was a open question, I
It
think.
was an open question, wasn't it? Yeah, it was an open question, because open questions can be answered with anything
Any
according
range.
to the speaker. Yeah, according to the patient. The patient can think of some information and give it back. Closed questions are yes, no. All right. So often when you have conversations with a patient, it starts out very general and then it goes quite specific. And then it might go general again, and then it might go specific again. That's what you find happens a lot in conversations. So it might be something like, how are you? I'm well. How can I help today? Open, open. Well, it's my leg. Okay, which leg is it? It's my left leg. Okay, it's your left leg. Okay, all of these are open questions. What's the problem with your leg? Open question. I'm getting a lot of pain in it. Okay, does it hurt more when you move it? Closed question. Because now what's happening now is that you're getting down to the specifics because you want to find out what the problem is, or you want to find out how you can help this patient. You can't just stay open, open, open forever. It's going to go down and become closed, and then it might become open again. Okay, you might say, does it hurt more when you move it? Does it hurt when you walk? Does it hurt more at night? And then you might say, can you give me the pain scale from 1 to 10? And then it becomes open again. All right. So these open questions are really good for new lines of inquiry. Okay, when you're trying to encourage the patient to give you information. But when it's just yes and no, it's really, really useful as well. It's not like open questions are good, closed questions are bad. But if you only do one, that's bad. We want both types, and we want to see this open question down to closed questions. So new questions, how are you? How does the pain affect you? Which leg is it? Where is the pain? You know, things like that. When did the pain start? These are all types of questions. Now, what I would say is be careful. Don't be too open. People often ask me questions like, can you tell me about the pain? Can you tell me about the pain? Now, the person that you're speaking to, they're not medical professionals. They don't know how your brain's working and how you're moving forward to get to the point that you want to get to. So if someone says a question like, how can you tell me about the pain? I say, oh, this pain. You know what? I've never known anything like it. It's really annoying, and I can't wait for it to go. Did I give you anything useful there?
No.
It's annoying. I've never known anything like it. I can't wait for it to go. All of that. I'm talking about the pain, but it's too general. I want you to get in there. Okay. Instead of asking a really open question, signpost, I'd like to ask you about the pain. Is that okay? Patient says, yes. And you say, okay, when did the pain begin? And then you can go in and you can be a little bit more specific. So just be careful. If you ask those really, really open questions, you might not get the answer that you want. Hussein, have you got a question?
Just a quick for the onset. the word onset if we use another sentence or something.
Do you think onset's a good word to use in the
No,
patient?
that's why I just asked you. That's not a good word to use for
Well,
the.
you know, if you said, can you tell me about the onset?
Yeah, is it what? Oh, the pain was onset. That's not good. How we can paraphrase this one
When did it start? When did the symptoms begin?
Oh yes, that's.
Yeah. When did the symptoms begin? When did the pain start? Yeah. Then you've
Thank you.
got closed questions. You know, is it? Are you? Can you? Okay. Have you? You know, these are all questions that you're going to finish with that are going to be answered with yes or no. And they're really good. When it comes to ruling problems out, which is what you often do in medical conversations, you're ruling out problems. You often use these kinds of questions. So you're going to get a little bit more practice on this tomorrow. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Compound questions, leading questions. Compound questions, leading questions. Okay, I'm going to speak to Fatima. Are you there, Fatima?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Fatima. Are you okay?
I'm okay, yeah.
All right. Okay. So are you well at the moment? How was Christmas?
Ah, okay, right now. The Christmas is fine. Everything went lovely.
Okay. So that was a bit of a strange one. How are you? Are you well? How was Christmas? You had to sort of try and say, okay, well, he asked me two questions there. I'll do the first one first, and I'll do the second one second. And that was okay. But you didn't give me a lot of information for the first one, did you?
No,
It was very brief because I think maybe there was a pressure to get onto the second one. And also, Fatima, you're obviously organized. Other people might not do that. Other people might just answer the second question. Okay. So compound questions are multiple questions asked at the same time. Okay. And what you're doing is you're putting pressure on the patient to be able to answer all of that information at the same time. Okay. And there's a risk. The risk is this: the patient might only answer the last question. So whenever this happens to me in OET speaking, if someone says two things, can you tell me about your diet? Do you have takeaways very often? I'll just say, yeah, I probably have takeaways maybe twice a week. Now, I'm only going to answer that question. So, Helen, what's the risk?
Do not get answer with compound questions.
Yeah, so you don't get the information for the first question. What does
We
what does that
we
mean?
need to ask it again and
Yeah. So if they only answer the last question, the best outcome is you have to ask the first question again, or you might do what?
miss it and move on without the information.
Yeah, that's it. And that information could be useful for the rest of the task. Not only in real life, if you don't ask those questions. Let's say, tell me about your diet. Do you have takeaways very often? Oh, no, I don't have takeaways very often. Or I do have takeaways 3 times a week. We don't know what else they're eating. Maybe they are vegetarian. Maybe they are watching their calories. And on the other 4 days of the week, they barely eat anything. Maybe they don't drink enough water, but you don't know. All of that information, that possible information, is not possible. All right. So don't ask multiple questions. Do not do this. Or if you do it, remember and go back and check. All right. And then we've got leading questions. Now, leading questions often use question tags. Remember that if you're a doctor or if you're a nurse and you're speaking to a patient, they don't want to disappoint you. They don't want you to be disgusted or upset with them. And people are often a bit ashamed, aren't they, about things that they do. Take smoking. Some people, they're addicted to smoking and they wish they could stop, but they can't. They find it so difficult. So there's different ways that you can ask about that. You could say, do you think you can stop smoking? That's one way to put it. Do you think you can stop smoking? What do you think about stopping smoking? That's another way. But what wouldn't be good is, you can stop smoking, can't you? All right. You can stop smoking, can't you? That's not good. That's a leading question. Helen, did you have a question about that?
Yes, about leading question. For example, if a patient mentions something about their diet, for example, they told they are vegetarian, and then after in conversation, you mentioned you are vegetarian, don't you? If we ask that, it is not a leading question, is it?
So you mentioned you're a vegetarian, aren't you? I'm not sure that I would use a
Thing
question.
like that, to just mention about the previous thing and then to check if it was right.
I think if somebody's already mentioned some information. So for instance, let's say that you were just talking to them about their current level of health, and they mentioned earlier that they go cycling twice a week, and they like to go to the gym every day, they play football once a week. Well, you know that they're doing a lot of physical activity. Well, maybe later on you've got on your questionnaire, on your medical questionnaire, it's about exercise. Maybe at that point you'll say, okay, so you're doing a lot of exercise, aren't you? Maybe you might do it then. But I think a better thing to do would be to say, now earlier you mentioned that you exercise. Is that correct? I think that to check it would be better. Refer back to it and check it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, not all question tags are leading questions, but they do have a kind of, if it's the first time you've spoken about it, then it does lead people. A doc.
Usual formal structure for these types of classes.
Okay, so here I am with Edwin. Hi, Edwin.
Hey, Paul.
Hi, nice to see you. Okay, so Edwin, you are an OET hero, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, super. So where do you live?